Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Trade the Chain. It is Thursday, May 27th, and we're happy you could all join us. We got two men down today, Mr. Monty and Mr. Ryan. Best Hair in Crypto is busy getting me some Philly cheesesteaks from his own homeland. But we have CJ, our crypto analyst from marketrebellion.com, and we have our special guest today, Danish, from Bitcoin.com exchange. So thank you, Danish, for last minute hopping on with us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Am I still considered special? I'm like here like almost every other week. I don't know if I'm still, well, I'll still say special.
Yeah, well, I just, to make you feel better, man.
Fine.
You're like part of the team, but we just
I
like
do feel special.
not short butts special, just special. But before we get to the big boards and let you guys know what's happening today, CJ, could you take it away? Pulling double duty yet again.
Yeah, just a reminder that nothing said today by Bitcoin.com exchange, Trade the Chain, or Market Rebellion should constitute financial advice. This is for educational, informative, and entertainment purposes only. As Ryan likes to say, do not listen to us.
Dude,
Additionally, Trade the Chain.
I should start saying that in the beginning of all my shitcoin talks. Like, isn't that nice? People bash coins all the time. Fun.
Trade the Chain is brought to you by Trade the Chain, an AI-driven sentiment indicator and dashboard alert system to help you beat the markets. Also, with a community of traders now worldwide, you can get these particular signals and sentiment readings on Trade the Chain dashboard that you'll see right here. You can check that out at tradethechain.com. And what's the trial period nowadays, Alex? Are you still doing the 14-day?
14-day, no questions asked refund period. You like it or you don't. We don't lock you in, cancel at any time during any month.
Thanks for that clarification, my man. And then moving to marketrebellion.com/crypto. This is Monty and myself and our community at Market Rebellion. With us, you get exclusive trade ideas, entries and exits, and stop losses on a weekly basis, as well as our access to our macro portfolio allocations, a pro charting platform, a trading education curriculum, and an elite community of traders all throughout the world, and much more. If you're serious about trading crypto, this is the service that gives you everything you need all in one place. And you start your first month trial for just $1 at marketrebellion.com/crypto. We also have a mobile app as well for iOS users. So yeah, before we get into the markets, gentlemen, any starting thoughts here that you'd like to share?
I got a few things. Well, one is, for folks, as we go through these times, there's a couple people I think, if you're on Twitter, you should really follow. And that is follow CJ. His name's on the screen. You can just type his name. Follow Nick Mancini from Trade the Chain, and follow Weston Nelson from Trade the Chain. The rest of us we're just taking pictures of palm trees and coconuts, but these guys are dropping little nuggets throughout the week, and they're really important. And most of the time, they're very, very sharp in what they're doing. So definitely do that. Also want to say that Danish and I, along with the rest of the Trade the Chain family and team, are going to do a special live event as we launch something. And that'll be Saturday, the 5th. Saturday, June 5th.
We're not telling anyone yet.
We're launching something you're going to want to watch. There's going to be giveaways. We're going to do giveaways and a bunch of cool stuff. So, but yeah, and that's about it. What about you, Danish? You got anything exciting coming up besides the fact that, I will say, no TTC episode tomorrow, as I will be hopping over to the beautiful island of Barbados to actually hang out with Mr. DJ Chaudhry.
That was gonna be my highlight for the week. I was gonna be like, Alex.
Oh, I took it from you. I'm sorry, man.
Took my one update. No, we're gonna be drinking some rum on the beach this weekend, and then hopefully hopping over to Miami next week for the conference.
That's right. It's going to be a busy week. CJ may not even return to the show for a solid month afterwards. We're going to tire him out.
TJ, you're going to be there too?
Yeah. Market Rebellion will have a booth with Voyager. We're going to be doing, live streams as well with Alex, and trying to basically stick a microphone in front of as many important people as we can and see to collect their
Nice.
thoughts for all of our viewers. So,
We got that lunch with Simon Yu from Stormex, man. We should just pop a camera there and make it like one of those like Anthony Bourdain eating while talking reality show style things.
Perfect.
all right. Well, before we go into the technicals, I do want to kind of lay out what we have going for us this weekend. We have an American holiday, Memorial Day on Monday. Historically, I mean, I think you can expect there's going to be very low volume this weekend as a result of that. International volume, specifically in Asia, has usually taken advantage of that low volume with drastic sell-offs. And so last week we had a pretty deadly dip on Sunday. That's been pretty consistent throughout the weekends. Kind of Sunday, we've had take profit areas in which then the next day on Monday, prices rebounded quite a bit. We also have Bitcoin options expirations, which I'll let Danish and Alex talk about in just a moment. But I want to break down the technicals here as well in Bitcoin for us. So we have extremely low volume currently, and that's not that great for the bulls, especially when you're pushing up against a level of critical resistance. When you talk about AI and a lot of automated trading systems, a lot of them and what's built into them is moving average strategies and moving average crossovers. And I think one of the critical ones throughout all of Bitcoin's uptrends and downtrends has been the 200-day moving average. And that's highlighted by the red line right here. And so if we get a firm close with some high volume above the 200-day moving average, I think a lot of trading systems are going to enter on that. And that also would satisfy my conditions of entering a long. Now, of course, we're still going to have really strong resistance at 42 and 45K, but ultimately that's kind of a confirmation or an initiation signal for me to enter a long. Also, last thing before I pass it back, and I've been kind of harping on this for a few days now, but the ADX, which is this white line on the bottom, check out each peak in the ADX. It measures momentum of a particular trend, whether that trend be bearish or bullish. So for instance, in our previous uptrend here, the ADX peaked simultaneously as when we peaked on that uptrend. So the next day, just one day after, when you see that firm drop off in the ADX, you know that the bull trend is likely over, and we're going to go through some correction period where we need to find additional support. Now we are at an instance in the trend where we're actually experiencing downward price action, or we're experiencing a negative trend. So this positive action on the ADX is a reflection of the strength of the current bear trend. And so another confirmation signal for me to enter a long would be a peak like that in the ADX. If we see a bullish engulfing candle past that 200 moving average and maybe past some of those critical resistance levels with a pretty evident peak in the ADX, that's further confirmation to get me in a short-term long trade and ride it up to maybe future resistance levels. But we just haven't had it yet, right? And you got to be patient and wait. And so that's pretty much what I'm doing. But I want to talk to you guys about this weekend and what do you think could have results on price action, or what could actually happen?
Yeah, there's first of all, what you just pointed out to folks is super interesting. And I really, it does look like we're about to topple the peak there. But really we're going into almost a little triple threat here, right? So we have a long weekend that's coming up. We're going to have low volume. That's going to put further pressure on the markets, but also we have expiries coming. And, a couple of things. One thing I want to mention, and then I'll let Danish comment on this, is the fact that we have the smallest expiry of the year coming. And so this is, I think it's a warning. I don't think it's a safe haven. Danish, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I don't know, actually. So who was I was speaking to a couple of traders. They're like, it's going to sustain itself until the expiry, and then after expiry, I think we take another leg down. I'm not fully convinced on a larger micro level after the dip that, after the second happening that my portfolio had this past weekend. We had a strong rebound, but obviously we generally have a strong rebound. I think this is just a temporary rebound until options, and then it kind of comes back down a leg or two, I think.
Yeah, so really, quite honestly, CJ, it could be a free for all. We could be in open territory with what's going to happen this weekend. It'll be interesting to see though if the low volatility, I'm sorry, the ADX level with the low volatility, if it keeps it rising though, and we don't get that bullish candle. I don't know. I mean,
the ADX was interesting. So it was rising up with a bull trend, and now it's rising up. It flipped. It was rising up with a bear trend. So it flips either or, like whichever the major sentiment is, I suppose.
What's a strength indicator?
Yeah, that's true. True. That's true. Shows how much technical analysis I do when I'm trading this. Yeah, no, I think this weekend it's a big weekend. Everybody back in the US has been, everybody's thinking, oh, dude, 3-day weekend coming up. Yeah, I think things are opening up. People are going to be away from the computers. I think in general, Alex, we were on an episode. I think in general, we're going to see volume dry out over the summer anyway, because people will go out and spend time outside.
Yeah.
And we might be the first iteration of that this weekend.
Yeah, I think CJ and I were speaking earlier, and I think he made a decent point, and that's if we don't see movement, any particular importance of movement by June or by the end of June, that will most likely ride out a range-bound summer before taking a second leg up.
Yeah, I think would be, I don't know. I mean, historically, in the fall and the winter, we generally take a leg up anyway. Again, correlated with people staying indoors for the most part. But yeah, I think we will, all my chips are basically in the basket saying this summer is going to be kind of like a bear summer. People will be paying attention to the charts. People will be hopping on a plane, going on a vacation sort of thing. We'll see.
TJ, what are your thoughts? If you had to go, if you had to say what Wednesday will look like next week, what is that?
I honestly have no idea. I mean, right now it's a toss-up. It could go either way, in my opinion. That's why I'm kind of just sitting tight and sitting on my hands and waiting to make a critical decision on Sunday. Usually that's been the turning points in some of these trends. So sometimes it's not about just, jumping in.
It might just be on a Monday this time around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pay attention to those volumes.
We should at some point check out what Memorial Day last year was like. Because I think it was, actually, no, we were still kind of reeling from, we were reeling from that March drop last year, right? Which
yeah, we had a slight peak going into in June. And it brought some optimism, but that quickly receded all the way through until DeFi summer hit, and then we had the rise of DeFi. And then I remember sitting on the trading desk, you and I, in London, and all of a sudden Bitcoin started going up, and we were like, "Oh wait,
that is true." I remember riding my Uber, watching my portfolio going to go all nuts, basically. But yeah.
What would be the date of Memorial Day last year? I mean, June is pretty consistent consolidation. I'm just looking at one of these specific days. Do you guys know by chance off the cuff?
Just take the last week of May.
Yeah, last week of May.
So this period right here, we were just range bound for basically the entire summer. We were so range bound in Bitcoin that people were taking the money from Bitcoin and using it to speculate on DeFi. And I think that's partially what led to that explosion over the course of DeFi summer. Maybe we'll see something similar if price action remains flat here.
Yeah. It could be like Polygon summer, right? Everybody's like now rushing onto Matic. now known as Polygon sort of thing, because I think people realize that BSC is just running on CZ's little hard drive and it falls over. And Solana is like, nobody's like a Rust developer anymore, right? So like those guys are hard to find. So most of the people I know are building.
Let's take a look at that, Donish. So, I mean, we touched on it in yesterday's episode with Polygon Matic and the whole Mark Cuban situation.
Yeah.
I mean, is there really something to happen there, or can this be messed up by human interaction?
No, I do think so. Polygon has this released the SDK yesterday as well. And I think that allows exchanges to or people to actually kind of because right now you have to cross bridges to do something, and the Matic bridge itself takes forever, and it takes like 21 days to come out. Zero Exchange, for example, has a bridge that's really fast and people swap in and out of it. They released an SDK which will allow more and more participants to use Matic itself. And I know Sandeep, who's like a good friend of mine, who's the co-founder. I think they're doing good things. They're really encouraging. So funny story though. I was speaking to there's an agency called Serotonin, which one of the founders is a friend, and we're talking about PR and how they're also minting NFTs. Everybody's minting NFTs, which is why I think Polygon will do well. But I think she was also she had a tinfoil hat theory that this whole entire debate of ETH using this carbon footprint to mint NFTs, how like people are like, oh, you minted an NFT and it took it killed half the rainforest. I'm like, it just cost $200 of ETH, man. It's nothing killed the rainforest. But that narrative has really taken hold, and she was saying how layer twos like Matic are the ones that I'm not saying Matic itself, but people who are pro layer twos like Polygon, etc., are the ones propagating that these other chains are expensive or whatever sort of thing. So I think that's taken hold. A lot of people are talking about Polygon. I think more NFT projects are coming around, and I don't see any other, because everybody wants an NFT now, right? And swapping is, so I was using Polyswap or whatever, quick swap, and it's literally very quick. I was using Zero, and it was really quick and cheap. So there is a chance that Polygon will be like top 10 in the summer.
Before I forget, here's an interesting thing that came out, and maybe I don't think Rob covered it yet over Digital Asset News, but I'm gonna have to get with him because I'd love to do an episode to discuss this. Did you see the FINRA is now examining NFTs to see if brokers and exchanges are in compliance for NFTs, because they don't know what an NFT is. Basically, the gist of the story was FINRA, which to everybody is a non-governmental regulatory agency that oversees broker dealers in the U.S. and issues them their licenses. But I would love to discuss this with Rob, because basically it was FINRA is now educating themselves on NFTs to see if they are violating any rules.
That is so interesting. I mean, there are NFT projects coming out that skirt some of the line. There aren't just buying a piece of art. Like a lot of people are building NFTs that are like certain portfolios of returns and stuff. But
give me an example. I mean, is Sotheby's a broker dealer? No. Is Christie's a broker dealer? No. Is an artist with oil and paint in a garage eating ramen noodles a security issuer?
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, but the NFT, the concept of an NFT goes beyond just art, right? So like the art in buying a Beagle thing for $6 million and $9 million, whatever the fuck it was. Sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed to swear on this. Whatever it was, that's one example of an NFT, but NFT kind of goes beyond just art, right? It's a unique piece of data or unique piece of code that exists on chain, and that could be used to signify, an index that gives out dividends to people who hold part of that token. For example, you can fractionize contracts, you can fractionalize, deeds, like all that sort of stuff can go in an NFT. So to understand NFTs, you kind of have to look at, are people using it for things that could become securities? Like, for example, I'm advising one of the projects in the US. They're going to create fractionalized NFTs of creator content. Right? I know it sounds wacky, but like, for example, Dave Chappelle has a stand-up, right? He is going to fractionalize the rights to the stand-up, and people can own a piece of it, and they will earn revenue from wherever it airs. Sort of thing. So that's a revenue-generating, dividend-paying NFT that definitely falls within the security space. So there's various sides of it, sort of thing. So TLDR.
Fractional NFT ownership. That's interesting. But I mean, this goes to anything that's a passion fund, right? So, yeah. I mean, now what are you doing? You're opening the doors of everything. And folks, if you don't know, a passion fund is basically an esoteric fund structured like a private equity or a hedge fund that, and they call it a passion fund because it usually is a nuance to what people are passionate about. There's wine funds, there's exotic car collection funds. There's artwork funds and stuff like that. When does it stop? If they do this with NFTs, they have to start doing this, I guess, across the board to everybody. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, it's basically a passion fund is kind of like a fraction. It's like a community owned fund, a Google owned fund sort of thing. That's like a fractionalized NFT.
Oh, geez.
Part of it. But I think DeFi Summer, as I don't know when. Which EAP is it? 1559, whichever one. There's a couple of ones that are going to pass or have been voted in, which is reducing ETH emissions and making it cheaper. If either of those two happen and Polygon catches on, we could see DeFi Summer again. With, I was speaking like Aave, Stani is hinting that institutions are now using Aave for borrowing and lending sort of thing. I think I know which one it is. There's a Swiss bank that's using them. So that could come about, like that actual use case. But other than that, if that doesn't happen, then I think we're in a sideways kind of boring 3 or 4 months.
CJ, what are your thoughts?
I think it's a little early to tell, but I definitely could see that playing out. I'm interested we should see if we could get Stani back on here and have him talk. Maybe he's just so successful now that he doesn't return our calls. But,
dude, he doesn't even answer my telegrams anymore. He's kind of gone from like, oh hey, let's chat, to like I have to chase them across the world.
I'm gonna chase Stani. We're gonna get him back on.
Perfect. We should get Stani on. We should get like the Polygon guys. Maybe curate a few different situations. We should get
Polygon would be an interesting show.
I'll hit up Cindy. Maybe get some NFT guys on here. Talk about some.
What do you think? What if we maybe we should throw like a trade the chain summit in Puerto Rico for like the end of the year or something?
We should totally do that. Why aren't we doing that? Why isn't that a thing already?
I think it is a thing. I think we just made it a thing.
Done. Trade the chain. Sentiment driven summit in Puerto Rico in the summer. Done. In the winter. Done.
In the winter, absolutely. I'm sure like 3-4 people will show up to that.
Dude,
all right, this is a good brainstorming session, but I want to bring up a topic that might be interesting to you guys as well, and this has to do with the OTC desks, or potential smart money or whales actually accumulating or buying Bitcoin on this dip. So, wallets linked with OTC registered an outflow of about 10,000 Bitcoins on Wednesday. So this is about 6 days old. It's a little old, but still, I think it may show that we're actually getting some larger, possibly institutional buyers stepping up on this dip. What do you guys think?
Honest, you throw in your thoughts on that.
I'm actually trying to look up the BMP as well. There's like a buy market percentage of Bitcoin as well, but which is also a very good indicator of where we are in the market. I think who's buying it? I'm trying to understand who is now stepping in. Yes, there are. I think the players that are already in the game are probably the ones scooping the cheap stuff. I don't know if this is like, I mean, sorry, jumping around, the last weekend spooked everybody, right? Like, I don't know how, if you're an institution, if you're like, my alma mater, like BlackRock, if you're like Fidelity, you take a haircut that big, when do you get back in? When do you just sit on the sidelines? So I don't know if large institutions are buying yet. I think, I'm not sold people are entering back that heavily.
I think we're good. I think Q2 earnings, that come out after the end of next month. Even forget that. Even ones that haven't come out yet. I mean, it was light this quarter. I think it's going to be very light next quarter when we get those earnings reports. And the fact that there's OT people, there's reports of people closing OTC desks. We have the China thing affecting that. Although I read a report that named a large exchange and it came back that was not the case. So who knows what the truth is anyway. But it's interesting.
Did you read that thing? Did you read that tweet from that one guy who was kind of describing the process that happens and the markets go through behind the scenes, where he's like a large market maker OTC guy, and they get a client who goes, I want to buy cheap BTC because my bids were missed, and now I went in at 30, now it's at 56. And so they engineer this entire dump situation where he writes out how much each press release costs, you let it sit there for a bit, then you target algos on low liquidity exchanges. Like, for example, Kraken is the easiest one to kind of like, you dump 10 BTC, all the algos kind of go down. You start there, the entire indices fall out, cascades all the things, your client buys it up, and then you're back to normal. Like, I mean, that's like, again, some people are saying this is what we used to do. I don't know if that's true. In a similar vein, I don't know if somebody loaded it on this dump, or we're just seeing a relief bounce, and if people are actually buying OTC or not.
What do you think, CJ? Corporate treasury buying, dead news?
It's hard to say, because, I mean, what I can say from personal experience is that there are funds that still want to get into Bitcoin. They're still working on it, and they're getting in. The thing that we're not seeing a very large options open interest when it comes to Bitcoin. So not that bullish, but my approach is just the same. I have to be disciplined, and I have to wait for the market to give me specific signals that I discussed prior. Yeah. Once we get those, then I'll act. But until we don't, kind of just got to sit on my hands. It's a tough call. A lot of this stuff I don't think has a clear-cut answer.
No, and that's, listen, the retail mentality. Matter of fact, Lucas was sitting down having some cocktails with him yesterday evening. We were talking about the retail mentality and how you have to be disciplined and how you have to have a plan, because it's the greed factor that'll be your undoing. And so when you enter into a position and you say, hey, I've made X amount of alpha on this, get out. Yeah. Get out. Nobody needs to go down with the ship. And not only that, but there's plenty of, if you learn the market, you time the market to the best of your capabilities, you can ride one ship, get out, ride it again. The volatility will be your friend, just like the trend is your friend.
You only need one or two, you only need one VGX or one Stormax or just a couple of these trades to really profit. So, obviously not guaranteeing anything, but
yeah,
you don't have
I think I fall into the same trap of like, I've been trading since however long, so I can remember, right? But like, I still even FOMO in because I'm like, I make 20%, I sell, it runs up another 5-10%. Like, I need to like go back in, and then I catch the tip, and then obviously I lose it all. It's like that still happens. I think it's just like, you're right, TJ. You just need to be disciplined, and it's not an easy thing. When
I just don't ever want Donish to have more than me, so that's how I lose these races.
Well, I keep giving you all my BCH anyway. So
Danish, I think I paid for a few dinners a couple months back, and I'll tell you something. He paid me back with BCH, and like 4 days later, BCH doubled. I was like, nice, thank you.
Yeah, I sent it to you like $400 or something, and it was like 1,200 like literally last week.
Totally.
God damn it.
Hey, real quickly going to chat, VGX update. If you guys didn't watch our show yesterday where Rob was on, Rob is going to he spoke to Steve's going to have Steve on to do that. So, definitely look out for that upcoming episode with him.
There was also an update this week that Steve gave in an interview after earnings, and at this 19-minute mark, he did talk about kind of VGX and the plans for Voyager and what they have in store and how it's, it is important to their company. I'm trying to find the link. Once I do, I'll post it in chat for you guys. Yeah, so it's going to be at the 49-minute mark, and I'll copy and paste that in chat for you guys.
Cool. Look at that. CJ is a helper of the people. Thank you very much, sir.
Look at that.
All right. So if I, a lot of people spam. Jeez. Oof, look at that.
Your life feed.
There it is, folks. CJ just posted it in the chat. The little update that Steve gave post earnings. If any of you guys are going to be in Miami, if any of you guys are Trade the Chain members, obviously you could just DM me, but hit me up. Let us know. Looking forward to seeing everybody. So really excited. Other than that, Danish, any parting thoughts?
No, I'm excited to take you to the beach here and grab a couple of rums while we discuss how we're going to lose all our money next week when the market ends.
Exactly. You know what it's going to be. So there might be because we're taking an episode away from you tomorrow, there might be a Sunday episode that happens just because we are in a holiday weekend and the market might start positioning for that. So I'll get with CJ, and if the market starts showing signals and positioning for one way or the other, we'll hop on and we'll let all you guys know. All right.
Maybe Sunday morning, if that works for you, Alex. Sunday morning seems like it'd be a pretty optimal time, but we'll see.
That works perfect. There's plenty of Wi-Fi at the beach in Barbados, and I will tap into it. Other than that, guys, thank you very much. We'll see you on Sunday morning, most likely. Please visit marketrebellion.com/crypto to see CJ and Monty at the Crypto Ops Center. Of course, visit tradethechain.com if you're not already a member. And if you like Danish, because everybody does, head over to the bitcoin.com exchange, check out their offering. Actually, there's a link to that below in the description. So very cool. All right, people, we'll see you on Sunday.